A silver Dodge Ram bursting through a wooden barn, flying across a dirt field, headlights blazing. That's the image burned into the minds of millions who grew up watching Walker Texas Ranger. It wasn't CGI. It wasn't trick photography. That was a real 1995 Dodge Ram 1500, a truck that somehow survived explosions, cliff jumps, and roundhouse kicks, all in one episode. And here's where it gets wild. This wasn't some heavy-duty 2500 or 3500 monster built for stunts. It was a half-ton pickup. The lightest-duty Ram Dodge made a truck meant for hauling lumber, not criminals. But week after week, it did both. Walker's Ram wasn't just a vehicle. It was part of the legend. It looked unbreakable, moved like a tank, and glowed under the Texas sun as if it were born to chase bad guys. But behind the scenes, it was chaos. There were multiple Rams, some pristine, some rebuilt from wrecks, others so battered they could barely start. Every crash, every jump, every chase meant another late-night rebuild from a crew that somehow kept the show rolling. What began as a clever product placement deal between Dodge and CBS became something bigger, a cultural icon. That silver over gray Ram became the 1990s version of the Batmobile, instantly recognizable, endlessly copied, and forever tied to Chuck Norris's legend. So today, we're not just talking horsepower or paint codes. We're digging into the wild, the weird, and the downright unbelievable. These are the 20 weird facts about Walker's 1995 Dodge Ram 1500, the pickup that turned Texas justice into television history. 20 chosen as a 1500 on purpose production could have had any Dodge yet. They selected the Ram 1500 Club Cab 4x4. The logic was stunt first. The 1500's lower curb weight meant safer flight, landing dynamics, less suspension violence on impact, and shorter stopping distances when things went wrong, which happened a lot. Heavier 2500, 3500s would amplify G-forces and risk the stunt team's backs. Bonus, the 1500's proportions read better on camera, heroic without looking oversized, so the Walker silhouette stayed consistent in wide shots and jumps. 19. The silver over gray that became a template. The two-tone silver over gray wasn't an accident. Testing showed silver photographs cleanly under mixed lighting, and especially at night. The darker lower half visually lowered the truck, adding aggression. Chrome wheels caught practical lights on CRT-era TVs, giving the truck sparkle and motion. Dealers reported customers walking in with paused VHS frames, asking for the Walker truck. Dodge even floated a Walker package, but licensing around name or image rights killed it, though the street trend took on a life of its own. 18 movie glow-up Ram SRT-10 in the 2005 TV movie Trial by Fire Walker. Upgrades to the Ram SRT-10, 8.3L Viper V10, 500 HP, 525 LBFT 5.0, 060, outrageous for a pickup then. It was halo marketing for Dodge at $50K, but the truth behind the wheel, at $65, Chuck Norris didn't drive it on camera. The truck's power-to-weight and tail-happy nature meant stunt drivers handled everything reportedly down to simple parking inserts. 17. Pre-OBD-II, outside post-OBD-II, inside Walker's 1995 exterior, pre-OBD-II, is often intercut with interiors from 98, 99 Rams, different gauge cluster geometry, airbag wheel, and even the visible OBD-II port under the column. The show routinely paired a 95 Hero body for exteriors with a later year interior truck for dialogue, and driving plates sometimes swapping within one scene. It's the dashboard and steering wheel airbag details that silently gives away the year switch. 16. Always wearing real Texas plates. The plate, AU9075, became a calling card and a logistical headache. Productions typically use prop plates, but Walker ran real Texas registrations tied to a Dallas Shell subsidiary for permits, tax incentives. Compliance meant annual renewals, inspection stickers, and insurance stayed current even for trucks destined to plow through walls. Because multiple trucks couldn't legally share, one plate crew would physically swap the real plate between units while others used dealer tags, sometimes mid-shoot. 15. The step swap mystery. Look close enough, and you'll see Walker's Ram never kept the same side steps for long. In one scene, they're shiny chrome tubes. In another, they're dull black plastic, and sometimes they vanish completely. This wasn't continuity laziness. It was logistics. The production rotated between multiple trucks. The beauty truck for close-ups used polished chrome steps that caught the light perfectly. The stunt truck had reinforced steel bars, or none at all less risk of breaking off during impacts, and the backup truck wore whatever was available that day. Fans later learned you could identify which truck was on screen simply by the steps. Chrome meant beauty, black meant backup, and no steps meant chaos incoming. 14 Mopar heroes. Only, if you've ever noticed that all the villains drove Fords and Chevys, you're not imagining things. It was written into Chrysler's product placement contract. Heroes drive Mopar. Villains don't. Walker drove his Ram. Trevette started with a Dodge Stealth, later a Durango. Alex had a Jeep Cherokee, then a Grand Cherokee. Even the Ranger fleet used Dodge trucks. The bad guys always GM or Ford. The rule was so strict that a script once had Walker temporarily driving a confiscated Camaro, and Chrysler's marketing department immediately vetoed it. Result, the Camaro quietly became a Ram before filming began. Chuck Norris in a Chevy, not on their watch. 13 Selling the dream. Twice only in the 90s could marketing be this perfect. During Walker, Texas, Ranger's commercial breaks, audiences often saw Chuck Norris himself standing beside a Dodge Ram, the same model, from the show, pitching it directly to viewers. You'd watch Walker chasing criminals in his truck, then seconds later, see Chuck selling you one. It was advertising inception. Dealerships even played Walker reruns on Sundays, because sales spiked after Saturday night episodes. Buyers walked in quoting lines from the show. For Dodge, it was the holy grail of cross-promotion, one hero, one truck, one unstoppable brand. 12 Twister's perfect storm. In 1996, two massive hits. Walker Texas Ranger and Twister shared the exact same truck, Dodge's redesigned 94-96 Ram. It was pure coincidence, but cinematic gold. Bill Paxton used it to chase tornadoes. Chuck used it to chase criminals. The big rig grille and squared stance gave the Ram presence on screen that no other pickup could match. Suddenly, this wasn't just a work truck. It was the truck of pop culture. Dealers capitalized, placing cardboard cutouts of Chuck Norris next to Twister posters that read, "Storms" or "Outlaws, Rams got you covered." 11. The Hummer Showdown. It sounds impossible, but it happened in the Season 8 episode. Rampage Walker's Ram outruns a military Hummer H1 in an off-road desert chase. The Hummer, built for war, riding on 37-inch tires with portal axles and military gearing, loses to a stock Ram, 1500. How television magic. The stunt team filmed the Ram at full speed, while the Hummer crawled at half pace, later cutting the footage together to look neck and neck. One stunt driver later said, "I was doing 60 through soft sand in a two-wheel drive truck. Most terrifying day of my life. Physics might disagree, but Walker always wins." 10. Solid axle. Solid hero. One old-school detail made Walker's truck nearly immortal, its solid front axle. While Ford and Chevy moved to independent suspensions for comfort, Dodge stubbornly stayed old school. That choice turned out perfect for television mayhem. Independent suspensions crumble under stunt landings. All those control arms and CV joints simply explode on impact. But a solid axle, it just flexes and keeps going. Stunt drivers loved it. They could hit jumps harder, land rougher, and keep the take rolling. That beam of forged steel under Walker's Ram didn't just support the truck, it supported the entire show. 9. The wrong engine soundtrack. If you listen closely, Walker's Ram never sounds quite right. In reality, it used Dodge's 5.2L or 5.9L Magnum V8, good for around 230 to 245 horsepower. But what you heard was another story entirely. Sound editors mixed in whatever engine note felt most dramatic, deep big block rumbles, high revving small block screams, even diesel growls. Sometimes it sounded like a jet engine at 8,000 RPM, something the real Magnum couldn't even dream of. It wasn't accurate, but it sure felt powerful. Walker's Ram roared like a beast even if it was just a family truck with an overworked sound engineer. 8. The push bar illusion. The truck's front push bar, that rugged cowcatcher, had a life of its own. Round lights, square lights, 4 lights, 2 lights, no lights at all. It changed almost every episode. Chrome 1 week, matte black the next. After one fence crash, it's visibly bent. Seconds later, it's flawless again. Why? Because different trucks filled in each with a slightly different setup. Some bars were welded on for real stunts. Others were just cosmetic props. In one hilarious wide shot, the push bar is literally a painted wooden plank meant to mimic steel. Viewers never noticed until pause buttons arrived. 7. The case of the missing roof lights. Those 4 off-road roof lights looked great under the Texas sun when they decided to stay put. Throughout the series, they appear and disappear constantly. One chase begins with no lights mid-chase they appear, and by the next scene, they're gone again. The stunt crew removed them to lower the truck's center of gravity, fewer rollovers that way. But for glamour shots, they went back on. In one spectacular jump, the lights literally fly off midair, only to be mysteriously back in the next shot. At $300, a pop continuity errors had never been so expensive. 6. The quiet mid-run upgrade. Somewhere around Season 5, something subtle changed, but sharp-eyed fans caught it. Walker's 1995 Ram wasn't a 95 anymore. It was secretly replaced with newer 98, 99 Rams. You can tell by the larger mirrors, new door handles, antenna moved to the roof, and redesigned headlights. The crew hoped no one would notice. They kept the old badges and same license plate, pretending it was still the same truck. But fans on early internet forums called it instantly. That's not a 95, look at the bumper trim. The show never explained it. They just kept calling it the same truck as if time stood still in Walker's garage. 5. The dashboard that told the truth. No matter how hard the production team tried, the dashboard never lied. The 1995 Ram's interior was boxy and airbag-free. By 1998, Dodge had introduced rounded gauges and dual airbags. Yet on Walker Texas Ranger, you could see both sometimes in the same episode. They used later model interiors for close-ups because they looked more modern on camera, then cut to exteriors of the older truck. One shot even shows the airbag warning label on the visor inside a truck that never came with airbags. Lighting tricks, seat covers, and camera angles tried to disguise it, but sharp-eyed viewers noticed immediately. In the end, the dashboard gave away the timeline and the truth. 4. A fleet. Not a truck. Walker's Ram wasn't one truck. It was a small army of them. There was the hero truck, perfectly detailed and waxed for dialogue and hero shots. Then came the stunt truck, stripped down, caged, reinforced, ready to jump buildings and crash through walls. The backup truck filled in when others broke, which was often, and it was usually, a Frankenstein mix of spare parts. Crew members recall as many as 5 Rams used through the show's 8-year run. By the later seasons, even production couldn't say for sure how many survived. What mattered most was that every morning a silver truck showed up ready to take punishment in the name of Texas justice. 3. The legendary plate. AU9075. Walker's truck carried one of television's most recognizable license plates, AU9075. It stayed the same through crashes, replacements, and years of continuity chaos. But here's the catch, it was a real Texas plate. Only one truck was registered at a time, meaning crew had to physically swap the plate between vehicles during filming days. Behind the scenes, someone's full-time job was simply keeping that plate, legal, renewing registration, insurance, and inspection stickers for a truck that mostly existed to get destroyed. After the show ended, the plate disappeared without a trace. Neither CBS nor Chuck Norris had it. It just vanished. Most fans believe it now hangs in someone's private garage, the real trophy of the series. 2. The official Walker Spec. Over the years, truck enthusiasts identified every inch of Walker's ride down to the nuts and bolts. It was a 1995 Dodge Ram 1500 Club Cab, SLT 484 brilliant silver metallic over slate gray automatic transmission, chrome bumpers, and 15-inch factory alloys. Underneath sat the NP231 part-time transfer case and 5.9L Magnum V8. Accessories included a black Go Rhino Sport Bar, a Ranch Hand Push Bar, Weston Chrome Nerf Bars, and 4 KC Daylighter off-road lamps. The powerful, technically illegal 100-watt version. Dodge dealerships began building Walker tribute trucks, matching the exact look. They even charged thousands extra for the color combo alone, and fans happily paid it. Owning one wasn't just about driving a Ram. It was about driving a piece of TV legend. One not Walker's first truck. Here's the twist most fans forget. Walker's legendary Dodge Ram wasn't his first ride. When Walker Texas Ranger debuted in 1993, he was driving a GMC Sierra K1500 finished in burgundy and silver. That's right. For the show's first few episodes, the face of Texas justice was behind the wheel of a Chevy-built truck. At the time, General Motors held the product placement deal. But just one season later, Chrysler stepped in with something brand new, the all-redesigned 1994 Dodge Ram, and everything changed. The timing was perfect. Dodge's marketing team wanted a cultural symbol for their bold new Ram, and Walker Texas Ranger was about to become primetime television's toughest show. The match was destiny. Gone was the rounded, polite look of the GMC. The new Ram's squared stance, oversized grille, and big rig design made it look ready to fight crime before it even moved. It wasn't just a product swap. It was a rebranding of a hero. Chuck Norris himself later admitted that he actually preferred the GMC off-camera it rode. Smoother was quieter, and didn't shake him half to death during stunts. But he couldn't deny what the Ram did for the show. It became a co-star, a chrome-plated symbol of toughness, loyalty, and unbreakable will. 8 years later, after countless rebuilds and impossible stunts, that silver Dodge wasn't just a TV truck anymore. It was Walker's armor, the mechanical reflection of his character, strong, scarred, and unstoppable. And there you have it, 20 strange, fascinating, and downright unbelievable facts about the truck that brought Texas justice to life. Walker's 1995 Dodge Ram 1500 wasn't just a vehicle. It was television alchemy, a perfect blend of stunt engineering, marketing genius, and sheer 1990s grit. Behind every explosion and slow-motion jump was a patchwork fleet of Rams rebuilt over and over by crews who refused to let the legend die. Under the surface, the truck was ordinary half-ton chassis mid-range V8 standard suspension. But on screen, it became mythical, a machine that didn't just chase villains, it defined heroism. What made it iconic wasn't the power or the polish. It was the illusion, that unstoppable spirit of a truck doing what no truck should logically do. It flew crashed and kept going week after week, proving that with enough attitude and a solid axle, even a humble pickup could become immortal. For a generation of fans, the sight of that silver and gray Ram tearing across a Texas dirt road wasn't just another action shot. It was a memory. The sound of its roaring V8, the glint of sunlight off its chrome grille, and the knowledge that somewhere out there, Walker was still driving it, still fighting the good fight. So tell us which facts stunned you the most. The missing license plate, the fake engine sound, or that Walker's first truck wasn't even a Dodge. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that subscribe button, and remember, in Walker, Texas, Ranger Justice didn't walk into town. It drove in behind the wheel of a Dodge Ram.